Hello friends, welcome to our channel AANANDI Astrology. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic, and the topic is the role of astrology and the need of astrology in our life. What is astrology? Astrology is a proved science. It has been developed by our ancient sages. It has its basic and strong principles and also the rules of its own, on the basis of which it has been proved. Like any other science, medical science, astronomical science, etc. Astrology helps us in variety of areas. How it helps us? When a baby takes birth on this earth, he or she does not know what is going to happen in his or her life. What is going to happen means which events, which incidences are going to occur in future in his life. Events such as his education, his career, whether he will do private job or government service, or his own business or profession, etc. That means in which area he will work throughout his life. Then when his marriage will occur in his life, how will be his married life? Which physical and mental diseases he will have in his life? Whether he will go to foreign countries, that means foreign travel, for any purpose, for education purpose, for job purpose, or for entertainment purpose. Whether he will live in his own country for the whole life or he will settle in abroad. Then the person's friend circle, his social acquaintances, his public image, whether he will get respect in the society or not. Whether he will be famous in the society. All such things. Whether the native will be highly successful person or medium level person or lower level person. That means his financial status, financial prosperity. Whether he will be rich and wealthy person or an average person. Whether any accidents, any inauspicious happenings are going to happen to his life. Imprisonment. All such things can be told, can be prescribed, can be predicted very surely through the science of astrology. In astrology, we prepare birth chart, Janma Kundali, on the basis of the birth details of any person. His birth date, his accurate birth time and his birthplace. Every individual's birth chart is different from the other. It is unique in its real sense. This birth chart has 12 houses. Any number may be there in any house. The number in the house, it denotes, it indicates the zodiac sign of that house. And the lord of that zodiac sign is called as the Bhavesh of that house. These various houses, they tell us about various things, various specific things in our life. In astrology, there are zodiac signs such as Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces. These are the 12 zodiac signs. Any planet of the planetary system may be there in any house. That means in any sign. Planets such as Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, Harshan, Neptune and Pluto. Out of these 12 planets, Harshan, Neptune and Pluto, they are very remote from the Sun. Rahu and Ketu, they have not actual physical appearance like other planets. They are only the intersection points of the orbit of the Sun and Moon. But they have intense, severe effects on human life. And there is their importance of Rahu and Ketu. Rahu is called as the Kal and Ketu is the indicator of our past birth. Sun is called as the king of all the planets. It's a royal planet. Now we are going to discuss the 12 houses of the birth chart. The first house of the birth chart. The first house of the birth chart is the person itself, his soul, his nature, then his looks, how he looks, what is his color and complexion, his height, his weight, which diseases he will have in his life, then whether he will have any accidents in his life, any mishappenings in his life. All such things, they can be predicted on the basis of the study of the first house. First house is called as the ascendant house of the birth chart. And the lord of this house is called as ascendant of that birth chart, Kundalini. The ascendant is very much powerful. It is the center point of the birth chart. If the ascendant house, the planets in the ascendant house and the lord of the ascendant house, they are strong, they are well placed in any birth chart, then that person is highly successful in his life. The lord of the first house increases the level of the birth chart. The level of the birth chart is very superior in that case. And if the ascendant lord is not well placed, especially if it is placed in the 6th house, 8th house and the 12th house, that means these three are the inauspicious houses of the birth chart. If the ascendant is placed in inauspicious houses of the birth chart, then the level of the birth chart gets decreased very much. Then even if there are very auspicious yogas, other yogas in the Kundalini, thus the ascendant must be strong. This is the importance of the first house of the birth chart. Then the second house of the birth chart. The second house of the birth chart is the house of wealth, is the house of money, is the house of property, ancestral property. That means the property which the person gets from his ancestors, such as land, agricultural land, bank balances, jewelry, income from various investments, etc. It is the house which indicates ancestral business, if any, in the family. Then secondly, it indicates the family members. Means the family with respect to the spouse and children. of the native. How the relationship of the native is with his family members, with his spouse, with his children, etc. Thirdly, it is the house of speech. Second house is the house of speech. Means how the person talks. He talks very rudely or politely. He talks very fast or slow. Whether he has any disorders while talking. All such things can be told on the basis of the second house. Second house also indicates the diseases related to teeth, throat, eyes, etc. Then the next house is the third house. Third house of the birth chart is the house of siblings. Means how many siblings the person will have in his life. How will be the life of siblings, average life. Whether the siblings will have any deep incurable diseases or any accidents, any mishappenings in their life. The relationship of the person with his siblings. The married life of the siblings, the average idea, the general idea of their married life can also be decided on the basis of the third house. Secondly, third house is the house of mind, brain, views, thinking level of the person. It is the house of knowledge. It is the house of writing and reading capabilities of the person. That's why great writers, they have very well placed planets in the third house, especially along with the 10th house of their birth chart. It is the house of courage. How much courage the person has to fight with the bad things in the society, to fight with the bad people. The mental status of the person, the mental condition, whether he is stable-minded or whether there is any instability. All such things can be predicted on the basis of the third house. Then the next house of the birth chart is the fourth house. Fourth house is the house of mother. The nature of the mother, the relationships of the native with his mother. Whether the mother will have any long-term diseases in her life. All the things related with mother. Then it is the house of house property, vehicles that the person will have in his life. Any mishappenings with his house can also be predicted on the basis of this house. It is the house of advanced education. Means postgraduate degrees, PhD, the persons doing PhD, etc. School and college education, that is decided on the basis of the fifth house, but advanced education, that is to be decided on the basis of fourth house of the birth chart. It is the indicator of old age. This house is the indicator of old age. Old age means whether the person will have comfortable life in his old age or he will have some hardships in his old age. Then the next is sleeping pattern of the native. What type of sleep he will have. whether there are any sleeping disturbances, sleeping disorders, diseases related to sleep. All these things, they are decided on the basis of the study of 4th house. It is also the house of accidents, like 1st house. 1st house is also the house of accidents. 4th house is also the house of accidents, especially vehicle accidents. Then the next house of the birth chart is the 5th house. 5th house is the house of education. School education, college education, etc. It is the house of extracurricular activities, the interests, the likings, the hobbies of the person. It is the house of creativity, imagination, innovation, intelligence of the person. Whether the person will be spiritual, meditative person. All such things can be told on the basis of the study of 5th house. Next point is, it is the house of love affair, romance, relationship the person will have in his life. That's why this is very important house while telling about the love marriages in the life of the native. It is the house of children that the person will have after his marriage. The fate of the children, whether they will be fortunate or misfortunate, whether there is possibility of any dangers, of any long-term diseases, of any mishappenings to the children of the native, whether the children will be clever or dull in their studies, whether the children will be famous or not. All such things can be prescribed from this house, 5th house. Highly spiritual persons, highly meditative persons, they have the very strong planets in this house, 5th house. Then the next house of the birth chart is the 6th house. 6th house is the house of diseases, all types of physical and mental diseases that the person will have in his life. It is the house of, secondly, it is the house of enemies, open enemies or hidden enemies in the society, at the workplace of the native. Then the relationships of the person with the people living in the society. Whether the relationship of the person with the people will be harmonious relationship or he will have any disputes with the society. Then next is, this house indicates the loans, the finance matters of the person. Whether he will take any loans and whether he has the capability to repay the loans. Just as housing loans, vehicle loans, personal loans, education loans, business loans, etc. All types of loans. The capability to repay the loans is calculated on the basis of the 2nd house planets, 6th house planets and the position of the Venus in the birth chart. If the Venus in the birth chart is not well placed, especially if it is placed in the 12th house of the birth chart, which is the house of all types of money losses. If Venus is placed in this house, then that person is not capable to repay the loans, whatever loans he takes in his life. This is also the house of money losses, the loss of money by theft, the loss of money by breach of trust, the loss of money by being a guarantor for any loan, for any other person. The loss of money on the medical treatment for the diseases of the person. All such types of losses, they can be decided on the basis of the study of the 6th house. If the 1st house lord especially is placed in the 6th house, 1st house is the house of person itself, his diseases. This house indicates his diseases, and the 6th house also indicates the diseases. That's why if the lord of the 1st house goes in the 6th house, or lord of the 6th house goes in the 1st house, then that person has very severe health problems in his life, throughout his life. Okay, thus we have discussed the first 6 houses of the birth chart today. This is the part 1 of our video, of our discussion. Then remaining 6 houses of the birth chart, next 6 houses, will be discussed in our next video. So, do you like my information? If you like my information, then please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon so that you will get the notification of my next video easily. Thank you. Thank you and goodbye.